and I looked down, and there was a syringe. And I remember like just looking up at the sky, and I'm like, God, you gotta get me out of here. I can't raise my son right here. I've struggled, and I still have struggled, but it's a different kind of struggle now.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
not the same.
I'm in conversations about contracts, and I'm in conversations about advancements. I had a gift with words, and I wrote my first song in 17. I was inside in a SHU, a special handling unit. It's just by myself, and that's when I wrote El Corrido de mi Padrino. I gotta leap, I gotta jump, I gotta do this shit. Have faith, bro, and go. God, if this is for me, and I should do it again, allow me to write again.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to be here. MarVic Productions. We are back. I'm Marlon, partner Victor.
What's good?
How you doing, G?
Doing great, man.
Good to see
Excited
you.
to be back on.
Absolutely. Just want to say thank you, to everybody that's been tuning in with us. We obviously had to take a little bit of a break, taking a little bit of a hiatus, just, holidays, family, life and figuring things out. But we are back. We're not disappearing on you guys. We're not going away. In fact, we're actually coming back with a big bang. We've got a really special guest here with us today that I'm personally really excited to get to know a little bit better and just learn from him. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders and really a lot to, just learn from. But Victor, you're the one that, really established this connection and, tell us a little bit more about, our guest here.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, shout out to my pops, man. OG right there still putting in work in the gym. And thanks to him, he introduced me to Jimmy. And my dad recognizes, talent right away. And, he told me like, hey, there's this cat right here I want to introduce you to. And from there, it's pretty much history. But pretty much, what I wanted to say was, 2024 was a great year for us for MarVic Productions. We had a lot of young talented entrepreneurs on here, and I feel like 2025 is not going to be any exception. And like you said, man, we got a special guest here. He goes by El Artista, also known as Jimmy Valdez. What's going on, my bro? How you doing?
Welcome, brother. Welcome, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Yep.
From South Central LA as well, so he's local and putting on for the city.
Hell
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Grew up in East LA, but didn't spend too much time there.
So I was born in the east side of LA.
Yeah. I grew up pretty much in East Los.
Yeah, I was born there, and then at like age 11, we moved to West LA.
Okay.
To West LA.
Yeah, we were living in Pico Rivera.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then like at 11, my parents separated, and we moved to West LA. And then from there, Sinaloa.
Do you feel like more of your memories come from the west side, west of LA?
South Central, West LA, Sinaloa. They're all like a mix of, my memories. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. And what part of Sinaloa?
Culiacan, Sinaloa.
Culiacan.
Yeah, so the city.
Your mom's from there.
My mom is from Sinaloa. Yeah.
Right. Dangerous spot.
I saw the interview, bro. I saw the interview. I know the homie. Like, we're best
up,
friends
bro.
now.
Hell yeah. That's hard.
Yeah, that's a dangerous place to grow up, man. Obviously with the traficantes, all that situation that happens out there. But what was life being out there, and how long were you out there for? You
know what, bro? Like, Sinaloa was really the first place where I saw things that you really only see in movies.
Oh, shit.
Like the gold-plated AK-47s.
Damn.
Everything that happens, a lot of the stuff that you see on Narcos, that was where I really experienced, real life, things that you would only see in TV shows or like movies. Like, that's what Sinaloa was like.
You grew up faster, huh? I'd say.
Yeah, bro. Sinaloa at 16, my life was very fast, actually. Speaking of growing up faster, my life at 16 was going pretty fast.
You said in that interview, like, you lived a fast life already even prior to moving, but that just enhanced it and took it to another level. What I didn't catch this, but I mean, since we're on that topic, what made you go there? Was that just because you wanted to, or
Sinaloa?
Yeah.
I got into some stuff here in LA when I was like 15, 16.
You had to go there?
I had to leave, yeah.
Yeah,
I left.
Okay. Yeah, talk about fast life. Yeah, so situations kind of just led you over there.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, I just left. My dad's like, you gotta head out of here, and I did till things cooled down,
Right.
And I was out for like about a year, and my parents. That's when my dad moved to South Central.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's where I came
back.
Yep. And I was in South Central. I was gonna stay for a little bit because I was supposed to go back to Sinaloa and start my journey that I already had going on over there.
Gotcha.
And I committed my crime, and that's what put me away here in South Central.
So wait, you committed crime in Sinaloa, or you committed crime?
No, here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I
came back.
Yeah, I came back.
Gotcha.
But I came back to fix some stuff. I had a DUI when I was like 14. Yeah, damn. I had a DUI when I was like 14. But I was supposed to come here and like get myself legit and then go back to Sinaloa.
Gotcha.
But like the plans kind of fucked up because I committed my crime, and that's what put me away for 3 years.
Do you feel like, you know, being out there in Sinaloa and things that you saw and learned, like it kind of just escalated when you came back here?
I would say so, bro, because like my life, the way, so basically my gun jammed when I was going to shoot the person who I was, you know, going to hit. Yeah, here. Yeah. And, you know, we were face to face. My gun jammed. If you really think about it, that's a very like aggressive way of doing things, you know, because you can also do that. But the way I was living my life, everything that I had already witnessed over there, and I speak about this a lot. My godfather's like murder played a big impact in my life. Consuming cocaine for the first time over there, drinking, the people that I was around with, the men that I was around with, it really did enhance. So when I came to LA, it was just like, for me, 17, like I was unstoppable. And
it's slower out here. It's not as intense.
Exactly.
There's more laws here. There's more police. There's more rules.
Yeah.
In our home countries, it's different.
Yeah,
different
bro. And you know, LA gangs, all of that stuff. But like, man, Sinaloa, like the cartel,
they don't play. Yeah.
It was a different ball game, bro.
So I'm curious, like, okay, so kind of, if you don't mind going back a little bit, because I found this interesting. When I heard this, I thought of you because he grew up. Victor's from East LA as well, right? You grew up there, so you were there for 11 years, and then you moved to West LA, eventually South Central. How old were you when you moved to South LA, to South Central?
17.
17.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you? I'm curious because we've had this convo before. So I'm from South LA. Like I grew up in Koreatown, probably like half. Well, now I'm in my 30s. I'm older now, but a third of my life I was in Koreatown. We bought a house in South Central. Okay. So even for me, it was like I grew up with Latinos mostly, you know, mostly like Central Americans, of course, some Mexicans, but South LA is a good mixture of Latinos and blacks.
Yeah.
So what I found really interesting about Victor was that like East LA, I don't know East LA like that.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong, from at least his experience, it's mostly Latinos, not a whole lot of black people, just mostly like Mexicans too.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. It's been interesting to see him just, you know, his way of thinking and experiences where I'm used to hanging out with, you know, certain black people and Latinos and whatever. For you, did you notice that as well for you? Was that an easy transition? Or, you know, was that like you didn't even pay attention to, you know, I guess the difference in cultures? You were just able. My assumption is you carry yourself in such a manner where I think you probably just blend in quickly. Yeah. But maybe it was tougher back then. I don't know.
Yeah. So moving to West LA, that was a culture shock first.
Yeah.
Right. Because like Pico Rivera, like they really like there was only one black family.
Right.
And everybody else was Latino or Mexican, like white, you know, white folks or you know whatever. But West LA was a culture shock. And right there, what was even more interesting was that it was my first time like seeing like Central Americans. You know, like they would be flipping like the pupusas outside of the churches, bro. And I used to think as a kid, I was like, damn, bro, like these people, like they make pancakes at night. That's a trip. I thought they were flipping pancakes. Yeah, bro. So it was my stepmom that told me like, hey, you ever try pupusas? And I was like, I don't know what that is. She was like, oh man, I gotta take you. And so we had some like bean and cheese like pupusas and like, bro,
fire.
Classic.
So that was that. Then obviously, then I went to a school where it was everybody, Jewish kids from India, Asian, black,
Where'd you go if you remember?
Emerson Middle School.
Got you.
And so that was a culture shock for me, which was kind of cool though, because like they would take the kids from the hood, like mid city, and then we would go up there, like closer to like Brentwood or Westwood
Yep,
area.
yep.
Yeah, and so
That is rich, white, Jewish.
yeah, bro.
lot of
Like
money.
Beverly Hills High was down the street, you know,
Yep.
shit like that. So that really like was a culture shock, but it was cool because it allowed me to talk to anybody, bro.
Right.
Like I've gone to different places and I've never felt anything against anybody. So by the time we moved to South Central, I grew up in the East Side, the Low Bottoms, and that's really like there's one black gang. It's a blood gang. They're black, and then everybody else is Latino in that section. So to me, it was like it was, you know, it was just normal because in the West Side, you know, it was us and then the Crips, and so, you know, we were just a bunch of black and brown kids.
Gotcha.
And so it was normal.
Well, what I tell them a lot, because I grew up in the southeast of LA, so like it's like 90% Mexican, probably 99% Mexican, and a little bit of Latinos. So like for me, it wasn't until I moved up north to Bakersfield where I got that culture shock, where it's like, oh shit, white people, black people, like what the hell?
Mixing or
yeah. You know, so for me that was a big.
Gotcha. That was your culture shock.
Yeah, that was my culture shock.
Right,
like,
right.
Oh shit,
Because
like
in the East Side, East LA,
it was just all Mexican. You know, so like for me, it was kind of it was different, bro. Like I kind of stereotyped a little bit, you know, where I was just like, what the hell, like, you know. So it was a difficult transition for me at first, you know. But then after all that, you kind of realize, like, you know, people are people, you know, and that's what matters, you know. Yeah,
what I would say is this though. You know, I've been mentioning my age because I think some of my followers don't know. They think that I'm young.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, I'm 36,
young,
bro.
Yeah.
I'm 36, and like I say that because I say like I done been here before a lot of these young kids. You know what I'm saying? So, like for me, what I would say is this: now we have the internet, and like people dress and talk however they want to. A kid from fucking Idaho can talk like a kid from South Central, but back then, a kid from East LA would talk like a kid from East LA. A kid from South Central
That's
would
all
talk.
they know. That's all they're exposed to.
And we can hear in our accents who's from what and who's from who.
You can tell.
right. Facts.
We would
Even
dress
in clothing.
we would dress how where we were at. You know, you didn't wear Cortezes or Chucks unless you were gang related. You didn't wear your hat a certain way unless you were from a certain section or said certain languages. You know, if you were a Gothic kid, you would dress like the Gothic kids. If you were a Tagger, you dress like the Taggers. And back then, it was very noticeable.
Right.
Now everybody, you know, you can go through social
mixed
media and be
in.
like, oh, today I want to dress like a fucking Tagger. Tomorrow I want to dress like a gang member. And it's like, bro, you're not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or so.
I was just gonna ask, what are your thoughts on that? Seeing that transition where everything's so mixed in your view, is that a good thing, bad thing? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think sometimes I think for the crime part of it, it's good. I'm glad that you can wear blue chucks. I mean, depending where you're at, you can wear Cortezes or blue chucks and not get your ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Because back then you were gonna get pressed regardless.
Right
and if
away.
you said I'm not from nowhere, you were gonna get your ass beat regardless. You know. And so, you know, now I work on movie sets, and I guess we'll talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
But like that was my most recent work that I was doing, transitioning into what I'm doing. I saw a guy with a triangle on his face, a white kid from like I don't know. I keep saying Idaho because you know that's to me that's
funny.
like the
That's funny
whitest
because
place.
he's from Idaho.
bro.
Look no further.
Okay.
White man from Idaho.
It's the
right
second
in the
time.
flesh.
Okay, you get it.
Yeah.
So like, look, bro, this guy,
You know what time you talking about, Brian?
white
hit the nail.
kid from Idaho, bro. He had a triangle on his face.
He had it removed. It hurt a lot.
Or he had a triangle on his face.
Nah,
yeah, he's like, nah. He's like, bro. He had a triangle on his face, and I was like, and you know, dude had like really cool like tattoos and everything, but you know, I know he
Something
wasn't
wasn't
from here.
right.
I'm like, hey, why you have that triangle on your face? What does it mean? And he was like, oh, bro, you know, when I first got to LA, he said I fucked up. And I got locked up and I went to the county.
Oh shit.
And I was like, okay. And then he was like, man, and I had 3 dots on my face. Because I would see it on television or whatever, and I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So I put the 3 dots on my face. And then when I was locked up, you know, the Hispanics, he said the Hispanics.
That means something.
He said they banged on me, and then they told me why I had them. And he's like, basically, they made me connect them.
Damn.
That was his punishment.
Excuse my ignorance here. I think me and white boy Bryce might be out of the context here. You might know that. What do the 3 dots mean? Are we allowed to?
Yeah, so the 3 dots, bro, like basically it goes back to like My Crazy Life, Mi Vida Loca, which you know, it is what it is. Like some black folks have, I think like YG has it, you know.
I've seen them. I don't know what it means.
It's a Spanish thing though, you know what I'm saying? But
It
it's
started
also
with
like, but
Latinos?
it's also like a Southern thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, if
You won't see people in the north with that shit.
you'll see people with four of
4
them,
dots. Okay, gotcha.
right? Because like down south.
Estrés.
This is where we get into those politics, but and I'll just very like 13 and 14, south and north. That's it. Like that's really what it comes down to. So if you got 3 dots, you know, you most likely you're from the south.
Right.
And if you got 4 dots, you're probably from the north. And that's really where it gets a little bit political. And if you go into jail and it's like, okay, where you from? Who you run with? Because you got to run with somebody. So it's like you're this, that, or that.
Yeah.
And then when he got there, like, yo, why the fuck you got this?
I'm from Idaho.
And he's like, I'm from okay. They made that full connect the dots real quick, you know?
Damn, that's crazy.
And so to answer your question, I see it. A lot of people lost their life over certain things, which I think is like, but you can see it miles away, bro. You know, I see it, and it is what it is, and I'm glad that people can have fun dressing up and all that shit, however they want to. But
yeah, because like you said, bro, there was a time in the era where you could identify a gangster, like you knew,
Easy.
okay, easy, you know, white, long tee, bald head.
Yep.
Now, you know, you can't. They actually dress more like fashionists now,
Yeah.
like you know the Gucci's, all this stuff.
Yep.
But like you said, it's dope that people are not losing their lives over like.
Yeah,
crazy shit.
Yeah,
I guess it depends who you run into, though.
Well,
right?
it depends where you're at.
Exactly.
You know, because like people think LA is like, bro, it's still active. You know?
Talk about that a little bit, man, because obviously since we're kind of in that topic, you know, like obviously hats in LA is a big thing.
Oh yeah, for
you
sure.
know, like every hat represents
every hat.
a hood. But obviously, you know, people come to LA and they think it's just sunny beach, all this. But for people that don't know, like, well, what's your advice when it comes to hats, bro?
Yeah, I think like anybody else who would give advice, just stick to LA hat, regular LA hat. You'll be all
blue,
right. You know,
Dodger blue.
just keep a LA hat, bro, and
Don't make it
stay
complicated.
stay out of certain
Stay
spots.
near the Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, stay somewhere over there, you know, because the Yankees is not for the Yankees, and you know, Cincinnati's not for Cincinnati,
Right.
and all of that stuff. You know,
There's a lot
There's
of gang.
other meanings to that.
every hat is just a different hood in LA. It's just the
Exactly.
way it is, you know.
Now,
Go ahead.
well, I was gonna ask. I know my assumption is, and I think I heard you talk a little bit about this, but like you're obviously no longer in that lifestyle.
Yeah,
And I do want to talk about like what changed for you, because it sounded like you grew up in this. You fucking went to Mexico and to hide till things cool down. So obviously things were hot. Like, what? Well, first of all, like, where did that come from? Did you just? Is it a family thing, or again, is the environment? You just grew up in that shit, so by default. You got into it, or
Yeah, it was all of that, bro. You know, growing up, my brother's an active gang member from a big gang in LA. So growing up, I seen him throwing up the set. I seen him like get into shootouts in front of the house. I seen him strike up his neighborhood. You know, he would take me. It was normal for me to grow up. And if you're from LA, you're going to most likely join a hood unless your parents keep a tight leash on you. But you're going to join a neighborhood for the most part, or you're going to hang out with people who are from a neighborhood,
Right.
you know?
Which could still lead to some trouble.
Exactly.
And it's funny that you say that, bro, because that's the reason why I moved up north. My parents got me out of Cudahy, you know, because where I grew up, it was like you had you had you had what is it? So my parents already seen me kind of falling into that lifestyle, being active and hanging out with homies. My first friend got killed at 14, bro. He was from a gang called, I think that's what it was called, 14, got murdered. So my parents were like, yo, we got to get the fuck out of here. Because I was already kind of like just talking about all the gang activities that were going on. And that's what led up to
Getting
north,
up
which
there.
I think was the best decision my parents made for me, bro, because I probably wouldn't even be here today.
No, absolutely, bro. I think like for me, it was that growing up, like my brother was an active gang member. My brother used to tell me, he's like, look, bro, I don't ever want you to be from a hood, but if you're going to be from a hood, it's going to be my hood. But then when I moved to the west side, you know, my brother was locked up. And like I said, my dad, he was with a new, stepmom, and to avoid problems in the house, sometimes I wouldn't be there too much, and then I'd be out in the street, and like the homies were like my family. And that's normally what happens. You join a neighborhood because that's it. And so the talk was always like, yeah, Jimmy's brother's from this neighborhood. we can't put them on because of this and this and that. But, you know, that led into me being from that neighborhood, you know. So by the time my brother came home from prison, you know, I was waiting for him at the bus stop wearing my blue chucks, my khakis, you know, and he's like, damn, you know. And so that was inevitable for me. I grew up around drug dealers and gang
no
members.
Way out. Like
that was just my upbringing. Ever since I was a little kid, that was my world. I grew up seeing that shit.
How do you I mean, I'm just thinking right now, like, you know, you obviously brought up the fact that like you're a dad, and you also in that interview talked about you're out of the hood now. Thankfully you're not there. But I'm curious, I guess even probably for both of you, I know you weren't like involved in gangs like the way you were, Jimmy, but what advice do you have for kids that do grow up in that? And I mean, is there a way out? Like, is it just like, dude, you're kind of, if you grow up in this shit, 2025, like, embrace it because there is no way out? Like, I don't know, the way you made it sound and the way I'm hearing, it's kind of like you just got to go for it. Like,
man, bro, I would say that you said two things, that and then being a father. So when my son was born, I was still living in South Central on the east side. This was like about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. My son, we were living there still. And I was at the park, at the local park, and my son was like a couple months old, and we were in the playground. And, you know, I have the stroller. He's not off, but I'm just chilling in the playground area. And I looked down, and there was a syringe in the kids' playground.
Like the sand shit?
Just
right there?
Yeah, it was like some other stuff that they have on the floor, but it was a syringe. And I remember, like, just looking up at the sky, and I'm like, God, you got to get me out of here. I can't raise my son right here, you know? And then not long after that, one of the homies, he got shot in the head, broad daylight, down the street. That's a regular thing in South Central and maybe other hoods. But I'm like, God, get me out of here, man. I got to get the fuck out of here.
For my son.
Yeah, so I did something, you know, try to put some place together, try to get a decent amount of money. It fell through. I was like, fuck, bro. I was really looking forward to that. And then the way that God works, bro, another check that came through that just like, I was like, oh, shit.
This'll work.
Get the fuck out of here. And I got out and, you know, and so so I was able to move out. And what I say all of that to say is that I got my son out. Obviously, the acting stuff started kicking up.
I was just
things
about to
started
ask
planning
that,
out. Yeah, things started like working more in my favor. I've struggled and I still have struggled, but it's a different kind of struggle now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
the same.
I'm in conversations about contracts and I'm in conversations about, you know, advancements. And I have money that's coming in through my work now. So it's a different kind of struggle. But I have my son in a private school. He's in a Catholic private school, bro. Thank you. Yeah. And he's in a better neighborhood. And we live like guys, 12 minutes from the beach. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're doing is breaking the generation curse.
Exactly,
right,
bro. So I did that because I'm like, no, I have to get him out of this environment. Right. So to answer your question is, it's kind of hard being in that environment, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because it's like, there's a liquor store, then there's a liquor store next to the other liquor store. And then it's like, there's a neighborhood right here, and you're going to get banged on when you walk down the street over there.
Yep.
It's very inevitable, bro. It's hard, you know?
So obviously your kid was born, but at that point, where did music come into place for you? Were you already kind of like singing, or did you even know you had that talent at that time?
When?
Like obviously you had your child already. You're still in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
At that time, were you already like grinding in the music, or was just acting?
Acting was what I had been pushing for the most. I went to college to study cinema and theater. When I came home after doing my time, I was 21, and I went straight to college to study cinema and theater, and that's what I was doing. I got into like, you know, background acting, and then I started like, you know, booking other things, but I always sung, and when I was there, that was one of my first viral videos that I put on TikTok. And I was working. This was my last 9 to 5. I let go of it like probably 5-6 years ago since I moved out. I was like, I gotta leap, I gotta jump, I gotta do this shit. Have faith, bro, and go. So I was working at a place called Yerba Mate. You guys know the drinks, like Yerba Mate. You know the drinks. So Yerba Mate, right? I was working there. So like, I think what I would do is I would bring a speaker and a microphone and leave it there. So when everybody was done doing their route, I would get there a little bit later, and then I would turn on the fucking speaker and the mic and just rehearse in the warehouse. And I was terrible, man. I'm like, damn, I thought I used to be able to sing. Like, do I suck this bad, you know? And so that I would rehearse. And then I practiced enough to get one song good. And then I took a video of it, of me singing. Like, I took a different outfit that day. Yeah. And I started singing, and that's the one that I put up. And, like, people were just like, yo, this guy reminds me of so-and-so. Yeah.
So no like vocal training, nothing like, bro. Just you,
just
me.
Yourself. I learned a lot of this stuff, like the business side and this side, and then the singing side, just on my own, bro.
Practicing. That was one of my questions, because again, in that interview, you talk about how like your padrino, like that really inspired you, like his passing away. That was your first song.
My first song.
One of the things for me, and you going to jail, like you wrote a lot of stuff in there, which I kind of want to talk to you about, because I was just thinking about how people in jail is obviously seen as a bad place. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't think anybody really views that, oh yeah, going to jail, that's good. Right? Like, but so much good comes out of it. Yeah. Like, for
you're able
people
to focus your time, right?
Yeah. I think for people that are able to get out, like for you did 3 years, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, you know, I'm sure you had a plan. I'm sure you thought about that. And like he said, you have time to read, study, or fucking make decisions like, yo, when I get out, I'm going to go after it. But one of the things I was wondering was like, yeah, how did you know, kind of tied to his question, like, how'd you know you could sing? Like, did you always know you had like a good singing voice, or one day you just fucking like?
Yeah, back then I wasn't conscious about my singing. Like, I would just sing.
You would just do it?
And it would just sound good to people. Yeah. Maybe because I wouldn't pay too much attention to it.
You're just doing it for fun.
Yeah, I was doing it for fun. But I think I learned the power of writing actually first. That's when I realized like I had a gift with words. And I wrote my first song in 17. I was inside in a SHU, a special handling unit. It's just by myself. We're locked in for the most part, and we can't really come out. And that's when I wrote El Corrido de mi Padrino. And that was the first song that I wrote. And I sung it to people, and I would see how people were like moved by it, and they'll ask me like, hey, sing that one song of your padrino. And like, I would go to a different place and like, hey, what's up, Jimmy? Hey, this is so-and-so from Whoop-de Whoop. Like, hey, sing that one song of your padrino. So then
started getting known.
Started getting known, and that's when I started writing for other homies, you know, homies from Pomona, from Compton, different places, be like, hey, bro, write about this. And that's when I realized like I had a power with words. And I started seeing one day I had everybody like fucking riled up, and I was like, oh shit. And it made me feel a little bit guilty. So that kind of pushed me away from singing for a long time.
What was it? Yeah, what was it about it?
Because I was singing about things that maybe were creating that environment, hostile environment.
Like supporting that.
Yeah, world. And it made me think like, damn, bro, like, are you this is what you're doing. And so then it made me really like pushed away. And then years later, I readjusted myself and I said, hold up, bro. I'm going to do this shit. Because for one, I'm going to ask God if like, should I do this shit? And if so, God allow me to write again. This is after like 11, 12 years, bro. Getting home, doing my, going through the acting, all that shit.
Right.
Yeah. I said, God, if this is a gift for me and you know what I'm trying to do with my gifts, I'm trying to bring hope to the hopeless and be a mentor to a lot of these kids. I know I'm not perfect. I still talk and move the way that I do, but that's because I can get to certain people that certain people cannot get to. So, God, if this is for me and I should do it again, allow me to write again. And one day I was, my homeboy had bought a Mercedes, and he was doing like, he was renting it out to like, clients and stuff like that. And it was my first, he was like, yo, do you want to drive? I'll pay you, whatever. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so it was a bunch of little kids from like a fucking like a prom party or some shit. I was in the Mercedes, boom, took them to wherever I took them, dropped them off, and I was chilling. And then I was just chilling. I was thinking about music, and then all of a sudden that song came in my head like, de la noche a la mañana dicen que es un artista, pero lo que ellos no saben. And I was like, this is a fucking song.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a song called El Artista. And then after that, Born and Raised came out, which is la de Los pies firmes en la tierra, somos de buena madera. That was one of my songs that also did very well. And that was my answer to my prayer. And that's when I said, fuck it, I can do this.
This is still meant for me to do.
But I practiced every day to get my voice better.
Yeah.
So I knew I had a power with words. I never thought that I was. I've never considered myself like a good singer. You know, I just know I say some dope shit.
But some people do though.
Yeah. And people relate to what you're saying.
And people relate to. I move people. You know.
Yeah. Your most recent one, El Güero, I believe it was called, or.
Oh yeah, El Güero Pesado.
El Güero Pesado. So it's funny, man, because I heard you say del desierto de Sonoyita. Bro, that's where my dad's from. That's where my family's from.
Sonora,
yeah, we're from Sonora, Sonoyita. Yeah. So when I heard you say that, I was like, oh shit, like he's talking about my dad's like land, you know? Yeah. So I thought that shit was hard, bro.
Yeah, man. And you know what? All of my original songs, this was to your point, a lot of the corridos are based in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And one day when I decided that I was going to do music, I said, you know what? Because in the beginning, I would talk a lot about mafia stuff. So that's why I kind of like moved away, because I was like, I don't want to come back outside, get involved, I'm trying to do good. So that's why I left music more than anything. But then I said, you know what? When I was coming back, I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk about my city. I'm going to talk about the crimes that I saw. I'm not trying to like glorify this. I'm just a fucking journalist, right, bro. And this is what I live. This is what I've been through. This is my story. You know what I'm saying? So,
is that when you dropped that song, El Cholo Narco?
El Cholo Narco was around that time, bro. Like,
because in that song you talk about some deep stuff. You know, you also mentioned you were fighting some addictions.
Yep.
You found God in prison.
Yep.
And Can you talk about that a little more, like the addiction part, and how were you able to overcome that?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, because you've changed.
Yeah,
yeah, completely, bro.
I want to hear like what happened.
So El Cholo Narco was inspired. I would say this: it was inspired off of my story and my big brother's story, and it was really inspired by a photo that Esteban Arioli took, the photographer, and it was one of the older homies from Westside Rebels in one of his documentaries, and he had little balloons in his mouth, and Esteban shot the photo of him sticking his tongue out with the balloons. I don't know if you guys know, but back then that's how you would sell drugs in the boulevard. You would put the drugs in the balloons. They were tight. You have them in your mouth, and you would sell it like that. And if the cops came, you could swallow it.
It takes time to dissolve. It's not going to dissolve quickly.
It's not. Right. But sometimes it would, and people would fucking die. You know?
Yeah, overdose.
But that it was inspired because of that picture. And then I was like, yo, that reminds me of my brother and da-da-da-da. And, so the story of redemption is the story of me and his, because I'm the one that actually got married. I'm the one that got sober. My brother got sober too, but, it's a mix of both of our lives. And we both lived a very similar life. And the way I got out, bro, I was 26. Prior to that, I would do good, man. Like, God would bless me. I would like get money from here, get money from there, and like next thing you know, I'm like $12,000 up. All right, cool. I got 12,000. Boom. I'm 21, 22. I just got out of doing time.
Yeah.
Most people don't it takes them forever to get a job, or they violate parole. Yeah. I'm out here killing it, bro. I got a beautiful girl. I'm in boxing. Like, I'm disciplined. I'm killing it, And then I went through this breakup. I had a drink. And that was
kind of relapse.
And so that was my cycle. I would binge drink. I would get blessed and I would binge drink. I would get blessed and I would binge drink. And I'm like, bro. And my lifestyle, the old one, was trying to pull me back every time.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so one day, my group of friends, they all caught a case for a murder. And they all went away. like this, 5 of them gone. And I was like, damn. I looked around and I'm like, I'm by myself, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, what a waste of talent, bro. All these guys were talented. My homie was like 21, 22, buying fucking horses, bro. This guy was meeting with like powerful people in Mexico, making him the main plug. He was too deep. He couldn't get out, but he was talented. He knew how to make bread. Yeah. My other friend, a good writer, good singer. This other guy, genius, started recording when he was like 11 years old. And all of them gone. And I was like thinking to myself, it was like God telling me like, yo, are you going to pick up this torch? Or you got to take responsibility. Look at all your friends. And I'm looking around and I'm just like, nah, but I don't want to do this, bro. Like I like to live this way. And it was kind of like somebody had to do it. Somebody's going to have to make these people proud. A lot of my friends live through me. You know, some of them are not here. Some who are doing a lot of time. And so that's really what started kicking into me. So I started switching my ways. And then finally at 26, I spiraled bad. I ended up living in a little trailer truck in South Central, back again in the east side, bro, at 26. And I still have videos. The little place that I rented was a little truck, and in the bottom there's like Black Widow syringes, you know, fucking smell like pee in there. I hooked up the little place, but that's where I ended up at 26.
So you kind of like restarting type of
and nah, bro, and
that's motivation right there.
Well, I was scared, bro. Like that's when I started seeing people that I grew up with, you know, coming back to South Central. I started seeing people like, I'm like, yo, that's G from da-da-da. He's picking out trash from the fucking garbage can, talking to himself, being schizophrenic. And I started seeing things like that, and it started kicking fear into my heart.
Like that could be you.
That could be me. And I'm 26. 5 years from now, I could be good or I could be bad.
Gotcha.
And that's when I started like really like, you know, going to play. And
it was like a defining moment for you right there.
Yeah. And that's when, you know, I had to change. You know, somebody came into my life. My son's mom came into my life, and from there I got sober 6 years right off the top.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah. And it was something that I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop, bro. Like it was hard. You know, some people are like, oh, you got to be mentally strong. It's like, yeah, but trust me,
it's easier said than done.
You know?
Exactly.
Like,
it's easier said than done. And the reality is that, like, you know, everybody's going through stuff in life. You know, everybody's got their fights and their struggles, and some people just deal with it differently.
Yep.
You know, like drinking. I mean, that's why a lot of people do drink, because they want to forget. I mean, you talked about in that interview too, like you got into drugs and all that shit because of what you saw, and you didn't want to see that anymore. And that's
like your getaway type thing, right?
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's an escape. Like,
there we go.
And you know, you talk about God a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have like a specific? Not to get like too religious, but do you follow a specific
religion or anything?
Yeah,
I would say I'm very spiritual. I grew up Catholic, but like, man, I was just telling the homies the other day, because I be bringing the homies to church. You know, I do, bro. I have young homies that pull up.
Yeah, why not?
It's cool, and I'm like, man, just having God, having a spiritual life is just so powerful, bro. It's not. I'm not saying like I'm gonna be perfect. No, bro, it's very powerful. But I was just telling the homies, like, bro, I could be in a temple and I'm good. I could be in the mountains and I'm good. I could be at a Christian church or a Catholic church. I feel God, I'm good, you know? So I don't have a specific religion that I follow.
You believe in like a higher power
I
that's
believe
watching,
and becoming sober really played a huge role. The 12 steps is giving your life over to the care of God. And you got to find who your God is. Define who your God is, but you got to turn that over. You have to surrender. And surrendering is so important. And I think that's why a lot of the times human beings, we struggle because we're swimming up. Like, bro, relax. Give your life to God. Like, and this is not even no, like, you know, religious talk, whatever. I'm just saying. It's like an energy. You stop fighting. And it's like now you're just like fucking rolling through the water. And it's like, oh, shit, why was I struggling? Because there's nothing in there. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that the power of energy and all of that stuff is real, bro. There's just how there's a good energy and there's another energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you could definitely feel it. I know for me, I felt that difference when it came to drinking. That's how I felt it.
You started feeling like the energy, the bad energy.
The good energy. Somebody told me, listen, bro, you want to stop drinking? Say this. And I learned that it said, like, you know, you have to sacrifice something. And I was like, sacrifice? Like, only sacrifices I've heard of is some weird shit, you know? It's like, what am I gonna sacrifice? Yeah, bro. And so it was like,
where's the rooster?
Yeah, bro. It was like, they said, you know, just say this prayer. And it said, you know, tell God, say, God, I don't want this life no more. I don't want these drugs no more. I don't want this addiction that I have. Take over my life, God. I give it to you and I surrender. And when she was telling me, like, give you my life and da-da-da-da, and I was like, but I said, fuck it. And I did it, bro. And I did it wholeheartedly.
That's powerful.
And that's when I felt, bro, the power of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like this. I was just fighting for so long, bro. And I think when I finally, like, surrendered, that's when I started feeling like the ease, you know?
Yeah.
And things just naturally started coming to you, you know, like your purpose in a sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's deep, bro. I mean, what you said. So I'm personally, like, I'm Christian, you know, and I believe, you know, God and Jesus, and man, what you just said, like, it just reminds me of his word where you're right. Like, it makes so much sense that you feel this way and that worked for you because really his message is, hey, let me handle this for you.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that no man and no woman can actually fight and win alone. And that's what we do all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just a pride thing, especially for men.
Yeah.
We're men. Like, we're going to be prideful. We're going to fight. We're providers. We got families. We got kids. Like, this is what we are called to be.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a natural thing, but it always fails. It always falls short because, you know, not to get too deep, but it's a spiritual battle. And like, and that's the thing is that we're not fighting. It's not people that we're fighting. My war isn't it? Yeah, it's a spiritual fight. And some of these spirits didn't come to play. They came to really fuck us up.
It's real, bro.
Right.
Spirits, all of that stuff is real, man. I've had people tell me, I had a client who reached out and was like, yo, I've been locked up for like 26 years, bro. He's like, I want a song written about me. And he's like, man, I've been to all these different prisons. I was asking him, like, what prisons have you been to? He said something. He's like, you know what, bro? Every time I went to this specific prison, I swear there are spirits there. He's like, if you a punk, the punk is going to come out. If you a gangster, the gangster's going to come out. Because every time I would go there, he's like, I would do things that I just don't know, bro. They're spirits. But I'll say this, though, in this conversation that we're having, bro, one of my dads, because my dad's a contractor. My dad too changed his life around a long time ago. You know, got into construction.
Congrats, man.
You know, yeah. Shout out to my pops. And he became a contractor. And so one of his clients, they're like archaeologists, and they were like, hey, you know, we got funding for like 2 people, and we could take 2 people. We're gonna go dig out dinosaur fossils in Wyoming.
Not Idaho.
And he was like, yo, and we would love to take Jimmy.
Yeah.
You know, because they would see me working with my dad and everything. And he's like, yeah. So I went, and we bro, it was big, first time seeing big ass buffaloes and everything. You know, what are they buffaloes? Buffaloes, right?
Another culture shock, right
bro,
there.
Let's ask the expert, sir.
Hey,
buffalo.
This fool was like,
it wasn't a dinosaur.
I know, right? This fool was like the size of the van.
Dang.
Running next to us, bro. Big ass animal. I'm looking at it like, what? And then, you know, the homie's wife, or the wife was like, yo, let's pull over and let's get some wild asparagus. And I'm like, what the fuck is wild asparagus, you know? Hey, bro, she cooked up a bomb-ass steak with like
the wild asparagus.
Hey, bro. So we went to the private location because this is a private location. Not anybody could just go in. Like,
I'm sure, if they're digging for stuff.
Yeah, they had a private section up there, and then we were down here. They had their section. So, like, you know, they had already work that they were already working on. And he was telling me how to do it. And he's like, you know, this is how you do it. And then you put some glue here, and then you do that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I was there, like, yo, bro, what? I was just in South Central. Now I'm digging out dinosaur fossils in fucking Wyoming. And then I look up, and there's, like, planes, like just, like, field, you know, like just plains. And I was like, I looked at it and I started envisioning big ass dinosaurs like the size of like buildings, and I started picturing like the pterodactyls like the size of planes, and I'm like, I started picturing all of that. And I was like, bro, and then I look down and I look at the fossil, I'm like, nah, because, you know, there's adults who don't believe that there's dinosaurs, I guess, you know? And I was like, bro, if this is real, there's got to be a God. There's got to be a higher power. Man, fuck everything they say. And that's one of the first times that I kind of like started like believing more.
Started clicking for you?
Yeah, like, you know, I know there's got to be something greater than me.
Right.
That's where, you know, that kind of started. But ever since I was a kid, my dad's story is very interesting. He was going to be a priest, came to the United States, and got into a different world for a bit. And I always had prayer and instilled into my life. And prayer is very powerful and very beautiful. And I think that it's always like, because of the religion aspect of it, it's a lot of the times it's like it's taken, not for granted, but there's another word I'm trying to look for, but people don't realize the power of prayer, bro. It's kind of like when they say, watch what you wish for. Prayer is so beautiful, bro, because it's really like you're really manifesting. You know?
Well, going back to words, you know, you said you're really good with your words. The Bible says that the tongue has the power of life and death in it. So literally, you're right. Whatever you say, you're either speaking life or you're speaking death.
Yes.
So there's really no mystery, no coincidence that be careful what you wish for, be careful what you say.
Yeah, your self-talk is very powerful.
I was about to say that right now, yeah.
When I was locked
be careful
up,
what you tell yourself.
When I was locked up, man, I never, you know, a lot of the homies be like, man, when I get out, I'm going to be on parole. I'm not going to get a job. I never felt that way, bro. I always knew, I'm like, I'm going to get out and I'm going to do my thing. I wouldn't even click that I'm on parole and da-da-da, like.
You're thinking beyond that.
Yeah, because I learned about self-talk early on through like anger management and all that shit.
I was about to ask you, did you read any books or like self-help books?
Yep.
And if you did, what was one of those books that kind of like
the first book that was given to me was the Bible.
Yep.
That's crazy.
We can end it right there.
Yeah. You know what, man? I'm gonna touch on this, bro. But like the Bible is something that I've started, but I've never finished. You know, like I get to a certain place and I just stop. And you know, I bet it's funny because a lot of self-help books refer to the Bible.
Yeah.
And one of some mentor had told me like, look, Vic, man, you know what the Bible stands for, right? And I was like, nah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
He goes, this is the basics instructions before leaving Earth.
Oh.
The moment you read this, you don't got you're solid.
That's cool. Yeah.
Basic instruction before leaving Earth. He's like, people that read the Bible don't even know what the Bible stands for.
Bro, yeah.
So when he told me that, I'm like, damn, this is the guide right here, right? So that's still a battle within myself. Like I got the Bible right there in my room, bro, and I pick it up, I read Genesis, you know, and then I just put it down and I don't read it until like 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
But that's my battle. That's where I gotta like kind of dig in and really read the word and get into that to feel what you guys feel. Because I feel like there was a moment in my life where I was spiritual. I was going into the churches and all that. And I felt that like peace. I felt that, you know, that vibrating in a different level. And then I feel like I lost that. Okay. That emptiness that you talk about, that's where I feel like I'm at right now. Where it's like I'm numbed to a lot of things. But it goes back to I got to get my spiritual right type thing.
Yeah,
so
that's
I love
powerful.
what I'm hearing right now,
Yeah, bro. So the first book, I'm going to get to that. The first book was the Bible. But somebody told me, because the lady said, she was like, what do you like to read? I was like, I don't know. I just want to read things that help my mind. That's what I said. I didn't know. I know, right? I didn't even know. Yeah, narco lullabies. I didn't know Yeah, I didn't know that self-help books was a thing. I didn't know about the genres. I didn't know none of that. I was just like, I told the lady, I want a book that helps me with my mind. All right, cool. So she got me a Bible first. She's like, read this and go to Proverbs. Look for Proverbs. It took me forever to find that shit. Like, I was like going through it. And I was like, where's Proverbs? This is my first time really holding a Bible, bro.
I feel you. The Bible is a long as book.
Yeah, so I'm going through it. And then I get to Proverbs, the book of wisdom, right? And I was reading through this stuff and I was like, my mind was blown, bro. And I was like, yo, I closed the book and I looked at myself like people were around me or something, right? And I look around and I was like, yo, do people not know about this stuff? Like, this is crazy. Like, this is real game. Yeah. Like, you know, like my way of thinking has always been like that, street and where I'm at. You know, like I still to this day, that's how I carry myself, you know? And I was reading what it was saying. I was like, yo, this is like real game.
Yep.
And basically that's how I felt. I just felt like it was a book with plays to teach you how to like get through with life. You know what I'm saying? So that was the first and kind of only book that I read, Proverbs. That's really it. And then I started reading like Napoleon Hill, like
How to Win Friends, Influence
No,
Friends.
no.
that's another one. I read that one too.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and
Napoleon
Grow
Hill.
Rich.
Yeah,
So
talking
Think and
about
Grow
two
Rich.
opportunities.
And then I've read a lot of those books. I read, man, The Artist's Way, The Alchemist.
What's the book that you're currently reading right now? I see you
The
posted.
Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
And that one's more about like healing your heart and all that stuff. And it's like, you know, it really teaches you how to like not take things personal and how to really just heal and stay focused and stay centered, which connects to what you're saying, bro. There's ways to like access that peace that you're looking for, right? There's writing, there's therapy, there's meditation, there's prayer, going to church, bro. Like somebody told me one day in an interview, they're like, "Hey, well, you go to church, you look like you would be reciting verses." And He's like, I was like, "Look, bro, I don't really know any verses. I go to church because it helps me not punch somebody in the mouth." That's why I'm there.
Yeah.
Most people in church, we're all broken, bro. But that's why we're there.
100%.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like it's the power, the beauty that you get to go there and be not perfect and soak this beautiful game. That's where I think people mistake spirituality. It's like, bro, you're in a place that's like namaste for a second. You know what I'm saying? And so it's making these things your discipline, right? The reading, writing, journaling, going to church, working out, that's daily for me. That's not even like a once in a while thing. I do this shit daily.
It's your lifestyle now.
It's my
It's
lifestyle.
who you are.
Exactly, bro. And then you get rid of all these other things too that also come. It just depends what heights we're trying to reach. For me, drinking was fogging my discernment. And there's other things that I've had slowly but surely gotten rid of. But you got to think about it, bro. Like sometimes we come and life just gives a lot of things to us. So all these things we gotta. It's the untethered soul, bro. We gotta get rid of a lot of these things. And I feel like that's where you really start finding peace, purpose, and you're able to hear. And last thing I would say is that this could probably be a clip. There's a time where there was 3 angels and they were talking, and God overheard them. And the angels were like, "Yo, so where do you guys think that God hit the truth?" And one of the angels was like, "Man, I think God hit the truth at the top of the mountain." And he's like, nah. I think God hit the truth deep in the ocean. And then I was like, "Nah, I don't think so, bro. I think God hit the truth in the stars." And then God, peeks his head and he's like, "Nah." He's like, "All of you guys are wrong." He's like, "I didn't hit the truth in the mountains, the stars, or the ocean." He said, "I put the truth in everybody's heart so that if you look inside, you will find the truth. But if you don't, then you're going to have to travel the mountains, the oceans, and the stars, and you will never find the truth."
You'll look everywhere but inside yourself.
Exactly. So when we start looking at ourselves, that's really where the magic happens. We gotta. That's why it's important to put in the work.
I agree.
That's powerful, bro, and it's a beautiful subject that you're talking about, bro. Like I didn't expect this side of Jimmy. Like I see the Corridos singer, I see this, and I didn't know this side about you, bro. But I kind of not to switch too much of gears, bro, but I see your tat, I see the hat. Is that your record label or like your record label that you're pushing?
Shout out to TLO, man.
Let out.
It's my management company, bro. I was gonna sign to a record label just recently.
I saw that. I was talking to. Can we talk about that? OTR Records, right?
Oh, you said it.
Yeah.
You said it. You said it. Hey, nah. Shout out. Shout out to.
That if we have to.
No. Shout out to OTR Records, man. Shout out to Soulless. Good people, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lefty Gunplay too.
Yep.
We were
Lefty's
gonna.
our boy.
Yeah,
bro. Talking about that, the Bible stuff. There's something that Lefty said about where they asked him about the same thing about self-help books and the Bible, and he said, "Yo, I only read the Bible because self-help books is perspectives from other people's minds. The Bible is the truth."
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that clip, but when you were talking about this, it kind of reminded me of what he said.
Okay.
And that's crazy that the fact that life has kind of put you guys together in that sense there.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that meeting? Or
Yeah, man, it was a great meeting. We had a good meeting. We had my team, their team, and we looked over stuff. And I think that in a nutshell, we shook hands and kind of left things maybe for the future.
Timing isn't right now.
Yeah, timing. You know, I still got a couple of things I want to work on and get to. So I think it was best when my team, decided to, just shake hands and keep a good relationship, bro. And I would say this, meeting Solis and some of the people in OTR and shout out to my boy Spike. Spike is the one, basically, he found me on social media. Somebody sent him, and he's the one that took it to the label and put everything together. But yeah, that's about it, man. Yeah.
That's crazy. Can you talk a little about, like, what does it mean to be signed by a record label like OTR and how that can change your life?
Yeah, I would say this. Getting signed to a label means that you just got to put more work. You got to keep working hard. You got to use that platform to really expand and catapult. Because there's advancements and there's numbers. There's things. Yes, it can help you with whatever you're gonna get as an advancement. You don't really have to worry about bills or whatever your situation might be. But it just really is an opportunity for you to really, really grow as an artist.
Well, it's a loan, right? Like
Pretty
getting
much.
signed is pretty much, it's like an
that's what
athlete.
I'm
They
asking,
give you an advancement, and you do in a way not necessarily have to worry about numbers, but you do have to perform.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting their money back,
Exactly.
and they're expecting a return on their investment.
Yep.
Right.
So it's essentially a loan. I got a question for you, and I know where are we with time, by the way? 1 hour? Okay. So just to
Damn,
honor,
fast.
I'm telling you, it goes
I know,
by quick,
bro, and I got hella questions, but we'll just. I heard you say that someone reached out to you and were like, "Hey, write a song for me."
Yeah.
Is that something you do? Like you write songs for people?
Yeah.
If someone, I guess, number one, what are your? Do you write? Are you willing to write about anything? And then two, how can people hey, bro, if they like your
reach
voice,
out
they
to
like your style, how can?
Yeah, man. So all my social medias, most of the time people will send me a DM either through like TikTok or like Instagram. Some people look through emails and they'll send me an email. But basically, it's like a corrido is a story based upon somebody. It's about a place or a thing, right? So like if you reached out, you're like, yo, I want a corrido by myself. It's basically, telling your story. And it's real big in the culture, because back in the revolution days, they didn't have no news. So that's how they would talk about the incidents. It was through music, right? So yeah, somebody reaches out to me, and basically the way it works is like, how much does it cost? I give them my price. If they like it, they'll say yes, and then we have a conversation and we talk about details, and then I get to work.
Making it happen, making it
putting
to
the
reality.
story together. And all
Yeah,
that.
yep.
You answered a question of mine too, bro, because my family's from Honduras.
Okay.
So I'm actually not Mexican.
Okay.
And just full transparency, I've never, for the majority of my life, I've never been attracted to corridos or Mexican music, period.
Yeah,
So
I feel you.
Not like
I know a girl from Honduras. She's like that too.
hey.
And to Peso Pluma came out, bro.
Hey, awesome. That's
I
awesome.
never heard of corridos till I came over here.
Well, so I was born in LA. My family's from Honduras. Our style of music is like punta. I'm sure you know about it, right?
Yeah.
Reggaetons, but like Mexican music to me, just I'm not hating it.
Yep.
It was super unattractive.
Yep.
I hated it. It
Absolutely.
was boring. It sounded ugly.
Hey, people thought it was only like boom ba ba boom ba ba.
yeah,
boom,
it was
like
it
crazy,
was ugly, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you dance to this?
Yep.
Whatever. Now,
And now
I
he pulls out
fucking
the
love
fucking
it.
parking lot.
Peso Pluma.
Hey, I love it.
yeah.
So one of
That's
my
dope.
He be pulling
questions.
up,
Really
come
dope.
by.
Yeah, same. The girl that I'm telling you about, same thing. Does the same thing.
So one of my questions for you was gonna be like, what is a corrido? Because
Yeah.
I to this day, you actually just answered it. That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
It's storytelling. Then
It is
it's
storytelling.
really, and I know a lot of songs are storytelling, but I guess what makes a corrido like special or different than like the other kinds of music?
Yeah.
And is that what you only write? Is that your preferred style?
Yeah,
or?
that's what I write.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this new generation has mixed it up. That's why, like, you're like, In fact, I got like some merch that says I'm not a rapper, I sing corridos. Because yeah, a lot of the youngsters, they look like me.
Look like a fucking rapper.
And they're like blinged out and everything. The traditional was back then sombreros, all of that stuff. So now it's like, you know, you got kids wearing like Gucci, you know,
they
Louis Vuitton, they got the ice, they got the grills.
Yep.
And I'm just like, damn, that's how I used to dress when I was like 14, 15 growing up, bro. So, you know, never thought that music would come this way, corridos. So now it's a blend of like trap and corridos and like, you know, it's a mix of that.
They have like the corridos
tumbados, yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Nathanael Cano, man, shout out to that kid. We worked together on a commercial, man, and that's where he's like, yo, I've seen you on videos before, and I was the main actor, he was the main singer, and who would have thought that I would start doing music after? And
shout out to him, because he really pioneered that whole corridos tumbados, and he took a lot of heat for it, bro.
A lot of it.
Yeah,
but like, look at it, look at where it's at. Like Peso came in inspired by people like him as well, and like, look, bro, it's like Lady Gaga bobs her head to some shit. You know what I'm saying?
She had a song after her.
Well, Peso kind of opened the door with the reggaeton.
Crazy,
which I fucking love.
Yeah, crazy, bro. I love it. I love how it's getting noise because it is beautiful music, bro. It is live instruments. It is cool stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was just never given. It just needed that spin, bro.
One thing for me as an outsider, not being Mexican, one of the things that even I learned from this guy, like we went to Rhode Island, and he probably doesn't remember this because this is normal for him, but he was playing some of these songs. One of the things I noticed, like, it's good stories. Like it actually, there's some good messages. I mean, a lot of it is pretty violent, at least the shit he was playing. But some of it was like
Arly Perez.
Arly Perez,
Some of it was inspirational. Some of it was like, yo, this is a good message, working hard, like there's values and somewhat of good morals in there. So I was just surprised. I was like, okay, I thought it was kind of just crazy violent shit, but nah, there's some good.
It's evolved. It's evolved. Back then, it was all about like the narcos, the mafia, and all this, because it was storytelling, like you said, about the news. And now the game has just evolved.
Yeah,
right.
But real quick, bro. Obviously, you were just in the East Coast.
Yeah.
I saw you doing your thing right there. We got some new music dropping soon.
Yeah. I recorded about 12 songs. I
heard that.
Yeah.
You did fucking sleep, right?
Bro. Man, I was looking at your stories, and I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, when does this guy sleep?
Bro, I was in Jersey. Shout out to Compa Jaciel, Compa Danny, Compa Ronnie. Biggie was our plug in Jersey. And we pretty much, they recorded 17 groups, 17 bands, different bands, right? And me being the artist that we have, business with, we got me with like 11, 12 features. So I got 11 different groups from out there from the East Coast. Santi being one of the last ones that I did, which like this song that we're gonna drop is really, really dope, because this one comes with like trumpets and like a little different sound than what I've done. But it's what it's on right now. So man, we had hard working days, bro. Like we finished recording one day at like 5 a.m. and then the next day we started again at like 3 p.m. or some shit like that and went to the night. But hey, that's part of the hustle, you know. And that's why I went to New York, because like New York, I feel like New York has given me peace in many other times. Like, so I went over there. I stayed at my manager's crib, and I was able to like, relax a little bit. Yeah.
Kind of get away from the lifestyle out here.
Yeah, bro. And take my time, take my time. Yeah.
What's up? And another thing I've seen a lot about you, bro, is you listen to a lot of Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Was he kind of like an inspiration for you? If so, how did he help you?
Yeah. Nipsey, man. I started hearing his music in 2009 when I paroled from one of my roommates who's from a neighbor. He's from a neighborhood too, and his music inspired me, bro. Because when I was chasing buses on Slauson and like Western to go to college, I couldn't. Fucking Soldier Boy at that time. Like, what that fool say? Soldier Boy, like him, and then Drake. You're all I wanted. Whatever the fuck the lyrics were saying. Like, there we go. That one. That's the one I was looking for, because that was in that time. And bro, I had just came home from doing time. Like, my lifestyle was different. They weren't saying anything. They weren't saying anything that inspired me.
Yeah, it wasn't related
but Nipsey, his life, his style, like, we're very much alike Cause that's how we grew up, bro. We grew up like that. So I'm listening to one of me. You know what I'm saying? And that
He's
really,
game too,
as he was growing and I was growing, it was so dope to like. He still inspired me to this day. He still inspires me, bro. And it's very unfortunate that he lost his life. Right. But yeah, man, he played a huge role in that time, man. I was able to just push through life.
Same here, bro. It was like 2013. Just listen to it was Mailbox Money when he dropped it.
Yeah,
bro,
I was in Mexico City when that came
out. And that song, that's how I knew. That's how I knew, bro. When I was just repeat those lyrics, and like that shit just kind of just lifted me to a whole different level where it was like everything that I'm going through right now, all this adversity, this is how I know, that I'm overcome this shit and be that dude, so I see that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think just to wrap things up. I know we can keep going probably for 2-3 hours, but we do want to honor your time.
Talking about Nipsey Hussle, bro. Not one person can make or break.
Yeah, what's to say? Not one person can make or break what I'm doing except me or God.
Amen.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Shout out to Beezy. Shout out to Orly. This is a one of a one piece. She gave it to me, bro. I walked into her office. Yeah, I walked into her office and this was there. She was like, you're not leaving this office without taking that with you, right?
Hey, that's
it was meant for me, bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
doubt, bro. I see a lot of similarities too. The way you speak and everything.
Yeah,
I get that Nipsey.
Which is crazy, bro. A lot of people would be like, "Hey, bro, you remind me like a Mexican Nipsey," and I can see why. I can see why, because we grew up. Like I said, we were talking about language and your demeanors. Like the other day, I was walking at the gym, and the trainer saw me, and he's like, "Yo, what's up, man?" He's like, "Man, I've been seeing you. You were in the East Coast, da da da." And I'm like, "Yeah." And we're walking, and he's like, "Man, so what happened to your ankle?" He's like, "Oh, actually, never mind. That's how you walk, huh?" We just
it's a style.
Product of our environments, bro. That's who we are.
Some things that will never change, or some things that will never leave you.
That part, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Nipsey says that too. There's some things that will just never change.
Yeah, man. It just is what it is, bro. As much as I am a good person and a positive person and everything, that essence of me is always gonna be there. Yep. Because that's who I am.
That's what makes you.
That's what makes me, bro.
Last thing, brother, because I know we're going on here, and again, we just want to honor your time. But just a quick question: Do you rap?
Nah.
You don't rap at all?
I don't rap.
It's corridos.
It's corridos.
All right, but you got the look, bro. And Nipsey, I'm like, do you rap?
I would be open maybe like to do some like Spanish reggaeton at some point, maybe.
That'd
if that were to work, but yeah, I'm not a rapper.
What would be dope, man? If you actually made a corrido honoring Nipsey, I think you would probably be one of the first ones to do
the
something
homie
like
actually shout out to the homie Bobby Castro. He wrote one about Nip.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So maybe I could sing it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so he hasn't.
Yeah, his name is Bobby Castro. He wrote La Leyenda del Barrio or something like that.
But it's not out, or like.
I think he brought it out, but it wasn't. It's like one of those like kind of like underground music.
Gotcha.
But hey, he's a great writer, man. He just wrote for Peso Pluma actually.
Bobby
Castro.
Last thing, brother, is for anybody that hasn't heard of you.
Yeah.
I know you've got a lot of music out there. You've got a lot of also TV work. We didn't really get to touch a whole lot in that, but I mean, you did. You went to school for 10 years. You said you did all that. What song do you recommend? Brand new listener, hey, this is dope. They're gonna see the clips. What song should they check out from you? And then from like your acting, what should they check out from you?
All right, so from acting, you can go to Hulu and watch This Fool. I'm in the opening episodes playing with the cars, and but I was shaved. I had my head shaved, so I'm there. I'm in like 2 other episodes. So
This
Hulu,
Fool?
This Fool, yeah.
I'm gonna do that tonight.
And I think on my platforms, Jimmy Valdez El Artista. You can find all my music. I would say just listen to everything I got, man. Prison War, El Cholo Narco, everything that I have. La Cuna, con los nuevos originales, and El Güero Pesado with El Malo. Shout out to Chicago, man. They showed a lot of love. I would say go listen to those. And we're currently working on the budgets for an album in Mexico. So I'm going to go record with Banda.
Nice.
So it'll be like 8 songs, all Banda.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be a banger because that's 11 members, instruments.
Yeah.
Nah, man, bro, thank you for being here. I feel like brother. This is your year. You're about to take off.
Appreciate
like I was
that.
looking at you, East Coast, and I'm like, yo, this guy's. I could just tell the work ethic is there, the commitment is there, and the discipline,
Amen, bro.
is there. And
Hell yeah.
en final algo en español, un mensaje para la raza.
Pues que le echen chingazos, plebes, échenle chingazos y puro para adelante y no se me rajen y siempre con Dios enfrente. Su compa Jimmy Valdez, el artista, LA shit, little bitch.
There it
Thank you,
is.
brother. Appreciate it.
There it
Peace
is.
out, y'all. Thank you, fam.